Hey, pop stars, welcome to this latest episode of the Wind Down Rewind, where we rewind the latest in entertainment and pop culture news. Hey, Tammy, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you, Eddie?
I am doing well. It has been a while since we've gotten together to talk the rewind.
It has.
I'm I'm excited. There's a lot going on. Of course, it seems like we start every episode with the rest in peace. So, rest in peace to Aaron Carter. 34. He was 34. He passed away. I hadn't heard how he passed. Had you? Have they
um,
released the cause?
he
Was it
was
OD?
found unresponsive. They're thinking it has to do with drugs because he dealt with drug addiction and mental illness for years. He was very very public about his struggles. And all that's been released so far is that he was found unresponsive.
Yeah. So, thoughts and prayers to his family, his friends, brother Nick, and the Backstreet Boys. He had a really poignant post, just asking God to take care of his baby brother. So that's always sad. And then Takeoff of the Migos. He was 28, and he was unfortunately shot um, here in Houston. So about a week or so ago, which was unfortunate. Um, Seems like he was just a bystander in something so senseless. Um,
Which one
so
is the
thoughts.
one that was with Cardi B?
That's Offset.
Offset. Okay.
Yeah, they're cousins. Takeoff and Offset are cousins, and then Quavo is Takeoff's uncle. Um, so yeah, it's really sad over a fucking dice game that he wasn't even involved in. It's just crazy. Um, Makes you wonder, when will the craziness stop?
Never.
So never. So turning real quick to get the heavy stuff out the way. The midterms. Were you surprised by the results of any of the midterm elections, or that they're still
Um,
counting in some places?
I don't know if necessarily it's surprised, but I had really, really hoped that the Democrats would be able to hold on to the House. Even if it was by one or two seats, I really was like crossing my fingers and my feet and everything, trying to hope that they'd be able to keep control of the House and the Senate at the same time. Um, but other than that, the one surprise that I really, really had was that there's going to be a runoff in Georgia because Herschel Walker, Warnock did not get over 50% of the votes. And so there's going to be a runoff between him and Herschel Walker for the Senate seat, which is crazy because that's kind of how Warnock got his seat in the first place, right? How uh, the first place was, the special seat and everything like that. So it's kind of like he's in the same situation he was in when he first got his seat, and then having to run again and being in this situation against someone that is in no way, shape, or form on his level, politically, mentally, emotionally, in any type of way, shape, or form. So that surprised me. But other than that, I wasn't surprised about anything else. Disappointed in some things, but not surprised.
Yeah, there's still a slim chance for the House once they count. Like I said, that's slimmer, but I was hoping so too. But if we can retain the Senate, which it's looking like we will, or Democrats will, then it's not much the House can do. They won't be able to really pass any bills, any of the stupidity that is going to come out of the House, and they are going to elect for leadership. I can't say that there won't be any damage done. If the Dems retain the Senate, it will be hopefully minimal at best. You'll probably get a lot of stupid, unnecessary hearings just out of revenge. I was just a lot of wasting taxpayer time and money. But yeah, I'm with you. But that was why they were um, so hell bent on getting that gerrymandering through. Um, so to ensure um, to make it harder to maintain the House. Which gerrymandering is what the version of the electoral college.
Yes,
Um,
it is.
you know, I agree with you. Um, did you see the Reverend? He went viral taking down Herschel Walker, explaining how Herschel Walker basically is their caricature of us and their stereotype of Black people and what they expect from us and how they. It was a masterful takedown. Um, and I mean, I wouldn't vote Herschel Walker for dog catcher, let alone I wouldn't even vote for him for head of the Trashmen's Union or whatever, but let alone to be a freaking United States senator. And that 48% of the people who voted in Georgia think that he's qualified, or ignored the fact that he's not qualified. Because there's no you can't ignore how fucking dumb. There's no way around it. There's nothing redeeming about him. If you're using your common sense, there is nothing that would lead your right mind to think Herschel Walker is fit to do that job in any way, shape, nothing. But again, it's if you're using your common sense. And I'm with you. I was really I really hated the fact, and I'm not surprised, but I'm disappointed that Texans voted to keep Abbott. Um, just like what I don't know what that says about state, really.
I have a
The
theory.
man who let what is it?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You want to finish your thought?
I was just gonna say the man who let the lights, who told parents literally on the worst day of their lives that it could have been worse. A whole town that suffered worst day of their lives. It could have been worse. You know, it's what's your theory?
So what I would say about that, because it's hilarious, being what our job is, always get a lot of people around election time who come directly to me to get my thoughts on things. People who normally don't talk to me at all about this stuff because they know how left I am. And the one thing I will say is not enough people in the cities vote. Um, a lot of us do vote but we think of it as in majority of the people live in the cities, but everybody doesn't vote who are in the city, right? Like they just look at it as in, well, I mean, Texas is red, it's Republican, like nothing's going to change. So I'm not even going to go out and vote. But people in the suburbs and in the rural areas vote. They come out every election and they vote. And of course, that goes into the fact of they close down voting sites to make it harder for you to vote. I stood in line for 2 hours to cast my vote this time, which was very different from last time that Abbott was running, because my line, like, it was quick, it was in and out. Now it was 2 hours. Like that was definitely a different experience for me. So I think that some people are sometimes like scared, or they don't necessarily understand how important it is. I also want to have a little conversation with the Black community, because we bitch and we moan about how we don't get nothing and how everybody else gets what they want, but we never get anything, which is a little selfish mindset of us. We're a little self-centered in that way, because the Hispanic community as well doesn't get what they want a lot of times. But when that happens, then all of a sudden it's just like, well, I'm gonna stop voting for the Democrats because they're just not doing what they promised me they were gonna do. Democrats have the hardest job in government because they have to cater, because they're the liberal side of our government. They have to cater to so many different groups. Republicans have to cater to one, just one. And so, no, we will never get exactly what we want and what we need. And that's the reason why we need to step up ourselves and start doing our own shit. And also stop making it seem like Black people who are educated and who speak educated, that all of a sudden they're elitists. Because that's one reason why Stacey Abrams lost Georgia. Because they look at her and they see her as an elitist because she's highly educated. So we need to start being acceptable of the small steps like our ancestors were, who were fighting in the civil rights movement and had to work on those small steps and be happy with the small steps that led to the big bills that ultimately became laws. That took them decades. And we bitch and moan when we don't get something that we want in 2-3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna get off my my pedestal now. Sorry.
No, I mean,
It just irks my soul because I'm like, I'm sorry, like I'm gonna just say it right now. I voted down ticket, like fully down ticket. I didn't know who most of those people were, but I'm voting down ticket because I understand what the importance is of putting enough Democrats in power that they can start fulfilling the promises that they have been making to us for years. But if we do not give them enough power to do it, how can we complain when you literally put them over the line and then you expect them to do all this stuff? They can't do all this stuff with only 50 votes in the Senate. They just can't. They can't do it when they're losing seats in the House. Like it's just not possible. So, we need to start being able to accept those small steps and working towards those small steps rather than expecting huge things all at once. It's just my opinion.
mm-hmm. I agree with you. I think that you said that beautifully, and me, nothing changes if nothing changes. And I always tell people, there's no such thing as a perfect candidate. Especially here now, you've got to go with the lesser of the two evils. Sometimes it comes down to that. You've got to vote, and sometimes it's not just about you. You have to think about what this country means as a whole. You know, you can't just get to where you want to be and say, oh, and forget where you were. Sometimes that's what I'll say. We forget where we came from, especially some of us. We'll forget the struggles. Herschel Walker didn't grow up in the elitist circles that he tries to run around in, and that make fun of him behind his back, and that put him out there as a fucking puppet. You know, but as long as you're carrying their water now, you're okay. Forget where you grew up, forget what life to be and still is for people out there, you know. So I agree with you. Um, and Stacey Abrams, her problem, black people actually did show up for her in Georgia, which I'm happy to hear, because there were some questions about that, especially when it came to black men. And I know we talked
Did the
about
black
Killer.
men show up as well? Because I know
They
that was her big problem with the black community.
Actually, they did. They
Okay.
did. Her problem was not us, it was
Was
them.
them.
Yeah. They're the ones who did not elect her, but we showed up for her, and I was happy to see that. Um, you know, uh and I yeah, so I'm hoping, I'm praying that we are able to maintain the Senate. Nevada looks like they're still counting, but Nevada looks like it hopefully will swing our way, um, which takes some of the pressure off of Georgia. But he still doesn't. And I'm still not going to say even if we get Nevada that we don't need Georgia, because there's no way in hell Herschel Walker needs to be in the fucking U.S. Senate. Period. Point blank.
Period.
Period.
With a
Yes,
T.
period with a T at all. Only way he needs to make his ass into the congressional building is if he's going on a fucking tour. But that is it. He doesn't need to have full-time access to that at all. To imagine him being on a committee, none of that, none of it. So um not surprising, DeSantis retained Florida. Now him and Mango Mussolini are at odds publicly because, I think Republicans are mad that they didn't get their fucking red wave. They want to blame Trump. No, blame yourselves for throwing all your eggs in the Trump basket. Um, the 2020 election should have told you. Y'all had plenty of chances to dump the dude, and you still have not. So whatever. All I will say is that people thinking DeSantis is a better version of Trump, no. He's a smarter version of Trump, which makes him more dangerous than Trump, because he knows how to play the game.
He's
And
the version that can get elected president.
yes, and that is fucking scary. Pay So that's why I tell people, pay attention to what is happening in Florida. Pay attention to Florida politics, because that is fucking scary. Um, but so we'll see. Uh, hopefully by our next episode we will have, with the exception of Georgia, all of the counting will be done, and we will have a more clear cut picture of what's going to happen. One of the things I found surprising, did you hear about Tiffany Cross being out at MSNBC, like effective immediately?
Yes, I did.
Um, I that shocked the shit out of me. I'm like, what the hell happened? And the timing is so suspicious because they really haven't said why she was let go, but it comes on the heels of the people at Faux News making her public enemy number one. And she had the highest rated show, not just amongst Black people. Her show is really popular with Black people, but she had the highest rated weekend show on MSNBC. So people were tuning in to the Cross Connection to watch her show. So I'm like, what happened? Like, I have you heard anything?
I didn't. I just heard that she was out. So, like, I was thinking along the lines of she got an offer at another network and she just needs to wait until her non-compete is over. I don't know. I was thinking maybe somebody stole her from them. But yeah, like, because she she's definitely a very outspoken individual. And I just remember when she would go on Morning Joe, and she was not about this playing politics on Morning Joe. Like, she would keep it straight, keep it real. And they stopped inviting her because she went after one of their friends on the show live on TV. And but she kept moving, she kept chucking along, and then she got her own show. So it is kind of crazy because I think that she was doing a phenomenal job on her show. When I did catch it, I definitely enjoyed the dynamics because I felt her show was more real than a lot of other shows that are playing politics. I understand the political shows, but you know what I mean by saying playing politics.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm definitely interested to see what her next move is going to be, since it's not MSNBC anymore.
Yeah, and we know it won't be CNN because CNN is turning into Fox Light, since it's owned by one of the Mango Mussolini's cronies, now. So it's just interesting. Like I said, I just found the timing interesting, and some people, Jamel Hill and some others, are wanting and a sit down with MSNBC to find out what happened, because, like I said, this came completely out of left field. I know she had responded to to the attacks, but Joy Reid responds to the attacks, from the Faux News crowd, Tucker, Fucker, and all of them. So like I said, I just I I don't know. It is completely out of left field, to know what happened, and did it come from the higher ups at MSNBC? Like, I don't know. It's just weird. So we'll see. Hopefully, we will get more details, and I hope she does land on her feet, because, like you said, when I was able to catch her show, I enjoyed it too, and she was not one to play politics. She was not one to bite her tongue. She called out everybody. So, and you can appreciate people like that. It was if you were going to get in your feels, that is not the show for you, and she was not the person for you to talk to, regardless. So, uh, speaking of news, have you been keeping up with what's been going on at Twitter? Like,
No, I haven't even been on Twitter in like forever. Um, but behind the scenes, no.
okay, so I haven't made it a secret. I was never a fan of the dude, the musky one, Muskrat. taking over Twitter. No one was a fan of Muskrat taking over Twitter. Everyone, like I said about Herschel Walker, everyone with some sense, everyone who's using their common sense, regardless of how you feel, whether you're a Muskrat fan or not, if you're using your common sense, you had to know that it was going to be a clusterfuck. You had to know it was going to be a bad idea. You didn't think though that it would just be so clusterfuckery, so much clusterfuckery within 2 weeks of the dude taking over. Like it is so bad, and it's like a comic. It's just like a clusterfuck of comedy. Like the other day, people were on Twitter saying, "Hey, Elon, why don't you go buy Fox News next?"
But has
Like,
anything actually changed of Twitter? Like, I
yeah,
mean, actual Twitter rather
oh,
than people just talking about the fact that he bought it?
yes. So you want to talk about what's changed? He's fired over half of the staff, laid them off. Then he had to stop laying off the staff because of bonuses and clauses and all of that kind of stuff. So that's the business end. But um, so he wanted, because he wants to make his money back because he realizes that he grossly overpaid. Twitter, I think they said was worth between 10 and 15 billion dollars. He paid 44 billion for it. So now you know why Twitter was going so hard on getting their money and getting out, right? So in an effort to try to recoup his money, one like his second day of owning Twitter, he goes on and he says, "We're going to start paying you." And remember, his big deal was what? Free speech, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he goes on. He's like, "Well, we're going to charge $20 for you to be verified now." What? So free speech isn't really free. Then Stephen King was like, why am I going to pay $20 for something that I'm already getting for free? And it's not a benefit for me. So all the verified people were like, we're the reasons that people come on Twitter. Why are you going to charge us? You should be paying us, but that's neither here nor there. So then he goes, okay, well, what about $8? And people are like, you really think Stephen King can't afford $20? You're missing the whole point here. So he comes out with this whole subscription. It's called Twitter Blue. All right. $8.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone can be verified for $8. Ask the question. Ask it. Like, ask it.
Wait, what? I'm sorry. Yeah,
So,
I can't wrap my mind around this.
okay,
And
so the popcorn wind down. Love us. We're on Twitter. Popcorn wind down on Twitter.
can be verified
Could be verified for
for
$8.
$8.
That's it. That's all we would have had to do was
But
pay.
you don't know who's actually running it though.
Exactly.
And if it's
So,
the actual person.
exactly.
Oh,
So
okay.
then he comes up with this whole idea. So he launches it some now remember the dude's only owned the company for 2 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he comes up with this idea one night. So then like one day last week, all the verified people had something that said official. So they would have the verified check and then under it it said official, right?
Mm-hmm.
Overnight he didn't like that, so he dropped the official so you could no longer tell, because that was the question people were asking. Well, how do you know if who's going to be verified, if it's really that person, if anyone can pay $8 and be verified, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then they had locked it so that you couldn't change your name on Twitter, so for like 48 hours, because to try to solve the whole verified problem, I guess, right? So for 48 hours Doja Cat couldn't change her name, and she had typed in her name as Christmas or something, right? So you know how people type in all these weird things just for their handle, but it has their official at whatever.
Yeah.
So so it was locked, and they couldn't change their name. So then people were getting mad at that. Then it puts on there. So if you wanted to know who was paying for their subscription to be verified, then all you had to do is click on the bio, and it says verified because I subscribe to Twitter. So I was like, what the fuck? So then all of a sudden, there came up verified Elon Musk accounts, verified Twitter accounts, verified Tesla accounts. The one for Tesla was funny, like, oh, we're the bomb, just like our cars blow up. I mean, just all this shit. It was
Oh.
hilarious. Eli Lilly, the pharmaceutical company, they lost billions of dollars yesterday because on their account someone had typed in, they created a fake Eli Whitley account, although you can't say it was fake because it was verified, right? That
Mm-hmm.
insulin was going to be free.
That what's going to be free?
Insulin.
Ooh.
So once they had to go back and say, no, this isn't true, stocks tanked. So you, and girl, they even verified Jesus.
How do you verify Jesus? Oh my God. Okay.
It
We're
wasn't,
going
I
crazy.
told you, it was a clusterfuck of comedy. So guess what? You remember how everything for a time everyone was like, oh, it lasted our a Scaramucci? They were like, Twitter Blue didn't even make it a full Scaramucci.
Oh, it's
So
already gone?
it's already gone because it was causing like a clusterfuck. So I forgot who it was. One newspaper, one magazine, something. They were trying to get in touch with Muskrat to interview him to find out about all the changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Twitter no longer has a communications department.
Wait, what?
You're the second largest social media company in the fucking world, and you no longer have a.
Everybody uses Twitter
Yes,
around the world.
yes, and you no longer have a communications department. Your legal, your legal person, the head of your legal department has already told people, get make sure all your ducks are in a row, uh, get whistleblower protections. Like it is bad. Every day it's just funny. So this whole site that you bought as a vanity project so people would stop talking bad about you, oh, they're talking so bad about you. And then he permanently suspended Kathy Griffin for making fun of him. Like she made a fake account and she just started making fun of him. But it was really just her account. I think she just changed the name or something. So yeah, he banned her for life. It's been a comedy of
Wait, he
errors.
banned her for life? What happened to freedom of speech?
But when you're making fun of him and his fragility, I'm like, you really got bullied as a kid, right?
He
Like
must have. He must
it,
have.
yeah. So I'm just
He
like,
was not liked.
yeah. And now he's already talking about the possibility of bankruptcy and all of this kind of stuff, and I'm just like,
Why did
wow.
he buy it in the first place?
Because he got mad because people were making fun of him, and then I guess he wanted to buy it to appease his friend Domingo Mussolini, and he got mad when he said he was going to let Trump and Kanye back on, and Twitter revolted and like no, and it's just bad. Like it. So I'm sure the behind the scenes and the actual morale at the company itself is a hell of a lot worse than what we're seeing. So yeah, but I'm like, you spent $44 billion just to run something into the fucking ground.
Well, if he runs it into the ground, they can't make fun of him no more, can they?
So I'm
Which is
like, oh,
crazy because if Twitter goes, like, yeah, that hits the whole world.
it does, and
Like that has an effect all over.
yeah, and Europe, some of the governments in Europe are already talking about soon. The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, they're getting involved because I think something about he was supposedly buying the Lilly stock when it was really low, when it was tanking, and then just a bunch of other shit. Like it's bad. Um, it's bad, bad. And I'm like, dude, we knew it'd be bad, but just 2 weeks in and it's this bad. Like you are not the genius people claim you to be at all.
Well, he could be a genius in one way. It doesn't mean you're a genius all the way around. Like, why don't people understand that? Like, genius is a department thing. It's departmentalized on your genius. You could be a genius in one way, but that don't mean that you're a genius all around. Also don't mean you got common sense.
Yeah, I'm. The more I find out about the dude, the less and less I'm inclined to call him a genius. He's just a rich bully, like a rich baby who wants. He's that kid that, like we said, that was unfortunately bullied. I'm not condoning bullies, but he's that kid that was unfortunately bullied, and then who never had a date. And so then when he gets rich, it's just like, oh, okay, that still socially awkward, weird kid. That's just, yeah, but he's an asshole. So And I hate that because Twitter is the one social media site besides Instagram that I actually go in because you find out things like really immediately on Twitter, you know. Um, so
That's
and
how I find out what's going on in the world.
yeah, and so it's just like okay,
That and
but
YouTube.
yeah, so it's just sad that he's running it into the ground. He's taking something that could have been that if he really had the genius or if he would listen to people, because even I forgot. It was Jack Dorsey and someone else. Jack, the former founder or the founder and former owner of Twitter, and someone else. They tried offering him some advice about what to do, how to run the company, about the things that he could do to help. But dude, you're just hemorrhaging money. So it's just like whatever. Um. Anyway, we'll see what happens. So I guess we'll put that in the to be continued or it in the warm up pile. It's still warming. We haven't heard the last of that, I'm sure. News about Brittany Griner. They sent her to one of the harshest penal colonies in Russia. Um, I I'm kind of surprised, but then again, I'm not. What about you?
I mean, Russia did not get what they thought they could get from America by punishing her as harshly as they did. And so it's kind of like now we got to fully follow through. Like, are y'all really going to let us do this to one of your citizens who didn't even really do anything major? Like, it's kind of like they're seeing how far can we go before the U.S. actually crumbles. And Russia, if you're listening, hope you're not, but if you are, um, yeah, we're not falling for it. So unfortunately, it's really sad to think along this line. But unfortunately, she gonna serve her time.
She got caught up in something that has absolutely nothing to do with her. She is collateral
But
damage
many
in
Americans do. That's the
yeah.
sad thing is.
She's collateral damage in a geopolitical war that had nothing to do with her. And the thing is, unfortunately, it all ties back to the Ukraine and and giving them what they want. And I'm sure to get her is stop aiding the Ukraine, give us the doctor of death, and just all these things that are, you know, too. And I'm with you. I hate saying it. That will probably be too much, too high of a price to pay, and that guts me to say that. It really does. Um, so yeah, that's something we're also going to have to keep popping because I'm sure we have not heard the end of it. But thoughts and prayers to her family, to her. Stay strong, and I can only imagine. I can't even imagine. I can't. It's just sad. Staying with sports, you heard about Kyrie. I know you're not a big
Mm,
basketball.
did I ever? You know I don't follow sports, Eddie. You know I don't follow sports, but I sure don't follow this story though.
um, yeah, we talked about it, didn't we? The beginnings of it, right?
No.
We haven't talked about. Oh, okay. Oh, because it was
Mm-mm.
just Kanye on his anti-Semitic rant.
Yeah, we ain't never get to Kyrie.
Oh,
This
okay,
is during the little break that we took.
okay. So Kyrie kind of hopped on Kanye's anti-Semitic train, who's just gone full out Nazi, from my understanding. Whatever, but no need to rehash that because he's just batshit at this point. Um, but so he tweeted out a link to an anti-Semitic video, and it was about the time that Kanye was in the news every day, every other day. So I think it got overlooked a little bit, and then of course it was on Twitter. They picked it up, they realized what it is, and Kyrie Irving, being one of the biggest names in basketball in sports, is going to get that attention. So the Nets didn't initially say anything publicly. They said that they tried to handle all of it internally with Kyrie. They were trying to go the education route, the talk to him route, the understand and listen route. They and everything seemed to be okay. He and the Nets both donated $500,000 to the Anti-Defamation League. They said they had conversations with Kyrie. They seemed productive. He seemed to understand. Then fast forward to about a week ago now. Uh, it's a press conference. Everyone was expecting Kyrie to apologize. And Kyrie goes on this word salad of a statement. And basically, how can I be anti Semitic when I know where I came from? What's the gist of it? And I'm like, what? So within hours of that, he was suspended for 5 games, minimal. He had the NBA commissioner, and this was from not from the league. This was the Brooklyn Nets themselves suspending him. The NBA commissioner set a meeting with him, so he didn't have to fly anywhere because the NBA league offices are in New York. And so it came out this week that Nike suspended him. He is a big brand ambassador for Nike, and he has great shoes, by the way. Great. I actually love his shoes. He makes some nice shoes, but I don't own a pair. But and so his Nike partnership is in the air. But after his conversation with Adam Silver, who is the commissioner of the NBA, and some other people, I think someone from the Anti-Defamation League or someone and the Nets owner, they're saying that they don't really believe that he's anti-Semitic, but he hasn't necessarily just come out and apologized. So I'm like, okay, what do you think?
Okay.
So this is gonna be good.
All right, like I said before, I'll say it again. I don't follow sports. I don't watch sports. Me and Eddie can never have a true conversation about sports. The only reason why I know who Kyrie Irving is because I believe he was one of the players who refused to get the COVID shot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's the, first time I really paid attention to his name. Like I know the big names in sports, but I really never paid attention to who he was. So then this comes out. Now, first thing is you tweet this video, and if you watch the video, because from what I hear, the movie, the documentary that he sent, he posted the link for, starts off with anti-Semitic thoughts and anti-Semitic statements off the bat. They mentioned Henry Ford multiple times, who everybody knows was an anti-Semitic individual. Like he had a whole newspaper dedicated to his anti-Semitic thoughts. And then when they ask you to just come out and say that you're not anti-Semitic, you double down. So when he could have just ended it right then and there. Instead of doing that, he doubles down. And I don't know if he thought because he's Kyrie Irving that this is how it's going to roll, but I don't know how y'all have not learned yet that the Jewish community ain't the Black community. Okay? They are not forgiven of anti-Semitic thoughts, statements at all. Now, the Black community, we're going to make excuses for you. Because they've been making excuses for Kanye for years. We're going to make excuses. Not the Jewish community. Okay? And they'll shut it down completely. And that's what he's learning right now. And so instead of you just apologizing, you double down. And then when they ask you, can you just come out and say that you're not anti-Semitic? And then you double down again. Because he did it twice. He doubled down twice. And then from there, that's when the consequences started to come. Because he refused to apologize. He refused to take it back, and he refused to delete the tweet. He kept the tweet up. He refused to delete it. So now you're dealing with the consequences of what you put out there. So even if people feel that he's not anti-Semitic, that don't mean shit, because your actions are promoting you as an how do you call those people? Anti-Semite? Is that what it would be called? It would be
Mm-hmm.
promoting you as an anti-Semite. Because when you had the opportunity to publicly come out and say that you are not, you refused. So now you have to pay the money. Okay, hit you in the pocket because people always feel that first. Then they suspended you from 5 games minimum. And then they told you you can't play at all until you meet with the leaders of the Jewish community, until you go through anti-hate training, until you visit the what is it, the Holocaust Memorial or something like that center, and talk to other people in the Jewish community. Like there's like 5 or 6 things that he needs to do before he's even allowed on the court. And then he wants to apologize. And then he pays his money. And then he agrees with it. And then he even has to meet with the head of the Nets, like the Nets owner or Nets manager or whatever they're called. He has to meet with them and prove that he has learned his lesson. Like, yeah. You ain't Kanye. And also, Kanye lost $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 2 billion?
$1 billion. As soon as that Adidas contract was canceled,
No longer a billionaire, right?
he lost his billionaire status.
Exactly. So Kanye West lost his billionaire status. And he came out and boldly said that Adidas wouldn't do it. And Adidas, I feel like he pushed Adidas up against the wall. And Adidas says, well, now you told me to leap, so now we got a full-on jump.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, so Kanye West is suffering the consequences. And what I know, like I was talking to some people and they're like really upset because they're like, oh, well, they're going extreme because Kanye West and them, they've been anti-Black and ain't nothing happened to them. You know why ain't nothing happened to him?
Because we didn't demand anything to happen to him.
Yes, because
we co-signed on this
we
shit.
didn't issue the consequences that he deserved for being anti-Black to his own community. That is the reason why. That is the reason why Kanye West was never punished. Because if we're not willing to punish him, ain't no company gonna cut him off. They be like, well, Black people still accept him, so we gonna still ride with him.
You know, but, and go ahead.
No, and the last thing I'll say is, y'all, I'm gonna tell you right now, we are too forgiving of that. Just because you happen to share our skin color and happen to be of the culture, don't mean you about the culture. And that's what we learned with Kanye West. And what we also need to learn is other communities are not as forgiving. It don't matter if you Black. It don't matter if you feel that Black people are the original Jews. That does not matter. They will cut you off and chop you up in a second for your thought process. Because when the Holocaust happened, they said it will never happen again. And they have made sure of it. Generation after generation, they have passed it down where you see this is what happened when we let our guard down. Do not ever let anyone say anything that could possibly lead to this event again. And they have set forth on that path. That is what the Jewish community does. Us, oh, it's all hands on deck, and you got to forgive them and this and that. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, like Kyrie Irving, you get what you deserve. Like, you shouldn't have doubled down and then tripled down on it and then expect that you weren't going to have consequences. And now don't expect that, oh, they going too hard and they pushing you too hard. No, it's just that the Black community don't push you hard enough. That's my thought process.
Hey, I can't say that I disagree with a lot of it, most of it. Free speech isn't free.
It's not.
And I think that's something that we must.
And it only applies to the government.
It does, and I think that's something Muskrat is learning. You paid $44 billion for something that you gotten for free if you had thicker skin. You could take this. You thought that, and I think it's the same thing. The parallel I'm going to make is you're bigger in the game because you have the name, because you have the money. And Kyrie is not by any means a dumb person. Um, Duke is a damn good school. He is how do I say this? He's a very man, but I've never seen someone who is so smart to be so stupid. He's smart and yet he's a faux intellectual at the same time. Flat, I don't know. Maybe he's so smart that he just tries to find ways to prove that he's smart and wants to think outside the box. For me, it's not just this. It's a culmination of all of the Kyrie antics, the whole flat Earth shit. Okay, if you're one of those flat Earth, I'm not mad at you for that. But when people got one, you double down. One of those people, because he says it and he's so smart, he's standing behind that education, then you should just believe it. Like that person who went to Harvard and Yale and to Ivies, and they feel like they can say anything and that's enough to back them up. They don't have to explain or actually try to have a conversation with you about their thought process. That's him, that faux intellectual. Because I said it and I'm Kyrie and I went here and I've read all these books. But what are you? Just because you read, you know, you fall down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole on YouTube. Okay, your views about COVID. Well, you're going against science. They're not going to do anything to hurt you. So it's just all, and it's such a distraction to the team. But here's the most important thing, I think. The Brooklyn Nets, since Kyrie has been suspended, the whole season has turned around. They went from a dumpster fire to now one of the hottest teams in the league. It's like, what do you do? They fired their coach. They did fire Steve Nash, but it had nothing really to do with the Kyrie situation.
Steve Nash was their coach?
Yeah. They were going to hire Ime Udoka from Boston. We know his situation we talked about before. Hell of a coach. They were going to hire him, but bringing him in on top of the Kyrie thing was just way too much. So they hired Jock Bond, who was already part of Steve Nash's team, and the guys seemed to have a good rapport with him. So it's neither here nor there. But they came out publicly and basically said, yeah, we didn't hire our first choice, which I don't know if that's fair to Jock, because of this shit here. So it's my thing. It's like, okay, how do you handle that? Even if he does complete all of that, do you fuck with the chemistry of your team and how well they're playing now? And there's no Kyrie is a hell of a player, but is he worth the fucking distractions? Is everything that comes with Kyrie? So it's just a question I'm putting out there for, whenever his suspension is up. Do I think he should be suspended permanently or banned? No, I do not. But I just say to any team or whatever, the Nets, is he worth the price of admission? Is having Kyrie on your team shit you're going to have to deal with? Because it's not a matter of if the next thing comes up with him. It's just a matter of when the next thing is going to come up with. What clusterfuck is it going to be? So that's just where we seem to be at this moment. But yeah. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Black Panther. You've already seen it. I haven't seen it yet. Later, so I look forward to having a conversation with you about that. But it already goes to $100 million on its first day. So, do you think it's in line to be one of the highest grossing Marvel films ever? Do you think it'll do better than Spider-Man No Way? What do you think?
Maybe one of the highest grossing movies. Definitely not going to get higher than Spider-Man.
Okay. All right. I can live with that. Well, I will table the rest of the conversation for, when we can actually have a real conversation about it. But I am excited. And it has been getting really good reviews for the most part. So I look forward to actually being able to weigh in on that conversation. I know you did not ever see Black Adam, and I can say there's no rush. Wait till it hits HBO Max or a streamer. There's no rush. It's not horrible. for a DC movie, it's okay. It's one of the better ones that they've put out lately. And based on that, I can say that it's trending in the right direction. That DC seems to be trending in the right direction. I think Henry Cavill, it was announced that he's returning as Superman. I'm excited about that. I actually think Henry Cavill made a great Superman. Hadn't had a lot of choices. Him, Brendan Ralph, and then Christopher Reeve, who had the role forever. But I thought he was really good as Superman. I just thought the problem was that he didn't have great material to work with. Um, that I guess as you were something was always missing, and it wasn't him. He to me was not the problem with the Superman movies. Are you excited about his?
I'm still on the fence about him as I'm not Spider-Man, sorry. Superman. And the reason why is, and I guess it's a weird reason.
Because it takes him out of the Witcher role?
No.
Okay.
I look at him and I just find him to be too good looking and too buff to be Spider-Man. I mean, oh my God, to be Superman, but also Clark Kent. Like, that's like, it's like, maybe he's a good Superman, but I don't see him as Clark Kent. And I think that could be what it is, right? So it's kind of like, and maybe this is the reason why I keep saying Spider-Man. It's kind of like Spider-Man, right? So people used to say, Tobey Maguire was a great Spider-Man. He was alright as, regular old dude Peter Parker. And then you have like Andrew, wait, or was it the other way around?
He was a great Peter Parker. Okay, Spider-Man.
But okay, Spider-Man. Thank you. I was like, wait, because when I was about to say Andrew Garfield, I said, I think it's the opposite. And then Andrew Garfield was a good Spider-Man. He was all right as Peter Parker. And then Tom Holland brings it together, right? So Tom Holland, I think, my opinion, is a great Spider-Man as well as a great Peter Parker. Like, he was just a great cast, like great casting when they casted him in the role. But when I look at Henry Cavill, like, that's what I see. Like, he's sexy, he's a really, really good looking guy, and he's really buff. And that's Superman. I don't see that as Clark Kent. So like, I don't know. Like, I'm always on the fence. So maybe I'll see what they can bring next time for the movies, because he really didn't have great material anyway, so he couldn't really show off his Clark Kent compared to his Superman. But so we'll see. But I'm still on the fence of him as Superman.
Well, I really like. I forgot when I was talking about Superman. I was talking about the movies. God, before he went full on MAGA asshat, Dean Cain was a good. He was good as both.
Yes,
and Lois
he
and
was.
Clark. He was good as both. And so I remember that, and I also think Tyler Hoechlin on the new Superman now. Gosh, I forgot the full title of it, but
yes.
I think Tyler Hoechlin makes a great Superman, and I realized
a great Clark Kent. Like, I see him as Clark Kent as well.
Yeah, because he has he has those Clark, like when he's not Superman, when his role doesn't require him to be Superman, he really leans into that Clark Kent role, especially when he's with people who don't know his dual identity. When he's at home with the family, he has that balance of still being Clark, but not necessarily being Superman, Mr. Fix It. He plays that role. He walks that line between human and superhuman really well. But when he's out in public as Clark and with people who don't know who he is, he has those quirky Clark qualities. Like how Clark is supposed to be a klutz and all of that. So he plays those, and I'm going to say he plays those three characters well, even though it's one person. He does it so well. So Tyler Hoechlin does a great job. And with everything on the CW being up in the air since they've been bought And the new owners have gone on the record to say the only reason why they kept most of the shows that they kept is because the lineup had already been set. But next year, they're probably going to cancel everything. Like they put them on all the shows on a really strict budget. So even All American, which is the highest rated show in the CW, which has been for a long time, um, all of those shows are probably going to have to find a new home, if not end. So I was
Netflix,
thinking,
baby, come on.
yeah, you definitely. All American Homecoming, which is getting better, they definitely need. Even Superman series needs maybe HBO, but I don't know because HBO has become a clusterfuck since the Discovery dude has taken it over. Um, HBO Max, all of that. And since that is a DC property, I was gonna say, but I don't know. He's probably gonna go all in on trying to get the movies, DC universe, the DCU up, and I don't know if he would want that crossover. But if Cavill wouldn't have come back, then like they were making the pitch for what's his name, the Flash dude, Grant Gustin, to be the Flash or to take over for Ezra Miller, because we know that this is probably Ezra's first and last movie as the Flash. Um, I would have said Tyler Hoechlin would have been that would have been great to just kind of conceal the roles or just consolidate the role and have him play transfer Superman over into the DCU. But we'll see. I'm kind of sad that he'll be out as the Witcher. Liam Hemsworth is taking over the role. You think that's going to work?
Hell no.
Okay. The jury is still out, but yeah, it's going to be a little different scene going from Henry Cavill to Liam Hemsworth.
Like he don't even have the like. I guess they were trying to go opposite of Henry Cavill, right? Because if they went kind of too close to who Henry Cavill is, how he looks and everything, then that person would never be able to make that role themselves, make that role their own. So I guess they kind of like casted somebody who can come in and make the role his own for that season. So we'll see. We get one more season with Henry Cavill, so at least that's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of DCU, did you hear James Gunn, Guardian of the Galaxy, Marvel stalwart, is taking over as the new head of the DCU. So he's jumping ship from Marvel, which I think he did. He did the Suicide. Didn't he do the Suicide Squad movie, the second one?
I
I
think
think
so.
he.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did this, and he'd also did he also did the sequel series with John Cena. I hate Suicide Squad, so whoever John Cena played in the second Suicide Squad movie, he had a series on HBO Max. I
I
forgot.
can't tell you the name. I know who you're talking about. I know the
Yeah,
character you're talking about. I just can't remember the name because it was so forgettable.
yeah, but they did a series, and apparently the series was really good. But I didn't care enough for the movie to try to even go make it make sense to me.
Exactly.
Um, and it got renewed. But so now James Gunn is taking over, and I can say that I think it would be good. I understand, and if you're truly serious about trying to finally put DC on the map to make it compete with Marvel, then it's great to have someone who has enough insight knowledge of how Marvel works, the things to take from it, to who has an idea of the footprint or the blueprint that you would need to build this out to create it, but who has enough of a mind of his own so it won't be a copycat. Because James Gunn has done some of the quirkier movies, that's my other thing is, are we now about to get a bunch of Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy like movies? Um, I'm still wanting another Robert Pattinson Batman. I want to see him be able, because I think we both agreed he made a great Batman, but the way that the movie was set up and the time frame, he was still going through his grief. We really didn't get a chance to see how good of an actual.
I agree.
So I um I need another Robert Pattinson. Like I thought he was excellent as Batman, and anyone remembers, I was so down on that. I was like, emo man, I love Robert Pattinson, but he's not Batman. All of this shit. I was like, no, no. And I was like, yes, I love the movie. As long as it is, I love the movie. And I thought he did a great job. So I hope that you can continue to build on that. To everything I've heard from it about it, it's like, what the fuck are y'all doing? A musical? Really? Like, it's just like, can we get something in there that's going to give us some consistency between characters and
Well,
movies? Go ahead.
go ahead.
No,
No,
that's it.
I was gonna say, if the first step that DC needs to do, and it's sad to say because I agree with you on. I haven't fully kept up on it, but from what I've watched, I really do enjoy the Superman TV series on the CW. Um, they got to do what Marvel did. You cut ties with everything that's not part of the universe, and make it and take it into the universe. Um, so what they would need to do is the Joker is not connected to the DC universe. That's a separate entity on its own. So it's either you bring the Joker into the universe or you cut it out completely. And that's for anything. The CW shows, you bring them into the DC universe or you cut them out completely. That goes with Titans. Bring it into the DC universe or you cut it out completely. They need to do that. You need to do a full overhaul and then sit your ass down and plan out the next 10 years, okay? That's what you need to do. Plan out the next fucking 10 years. And the 10 years starts from like 2024 because you already got movies on the calendar. You know, you may have to redo some scenes or whatever like that, but that's what they're gonna have to do if they're trying to actually get this off the ground. Finally, get it
And
off the
I
ground.
and I agree with you. Just like how Marvel cut their production deal and no one truly understood why when the shows on Netflix were such a success, you understood that okay, it has to do with the launching of Disney Plus. You know, then the kind of spin-off or runaway shows that they had on Hulu, they canceled those even though they weren't necessarily the best. Although one of them was really good. There was one on Freeform that I liked when it was still ABC Family, I think, or Freeform. Um, but I really wish it kind of would have stuck around a little bit longer. It was really good. I think it got just like one season. But then the Titans is excellent and people love it and they're already talking about possibly canceling it. Like I said, no one knows what the hell the dude at HBO Discovery is doing or Warner Brothers Discovery is doing besides ruining HBO Max. And, um, you know, so it's just like, yeah. So the Titans will, unfortunately, I hope this is not the last season of the Titans, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. But you're already a step ahead of Marvel because you have this built-in engine for you to have your TV shows. Like I said, the Superman show, it would be perfect on. You already have the built-in place for it. HBO Max. Let it continue there. Um, the Flash is on its last legs. I haven't watched The Flash in a couple of seasons, so I couldn't really tell you what's going on there. But so you have a place where you can also build out the TV shows. But a lot of the TV shows and made for TV movies with some of the heroes you were doing, you canceled. So maybe that is a good thing considering that you have a new head and you can figure out how this is going to work. But I agree with you. Starting with 2024, he needs to be mapping this out already right now. What we're going to do in 2024, what's going to be our new slate. What is, since we can't really rely on the Flash movie to be the tent pole that we thought it was going to be, okay, what are we going to do with Wonder Woman 3? How do we make them all come together? I agree with you. I understand Joaquin's Phoenix. I understand Joaquin Phoenix's rock moment when he was like, no, separate from the clusterfuck that is what call the DCU at the moment. That, but now that it's all coming together, Joaquin Phoenix is an excellent Joker. You need to bring him in or let it go and get a new Joker if he doesn't want to do it. You know, I could you imagine him and Robert Pattinson going head to head in a Batman movie? Like it, I'm just thinking
Star
about the
power because
possibility.
Robert Pattinson can act.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on Robert.
Phoenix is Robert and Joaquin is a great actor, you know. So I just see that, and it's giving me like Ledger, Christian Bell, but that was a great movie, and it was a great. It's giving me those type of vibes. It calls back to just that drama and that the drama that was between the two. So I'm like, you have the parts in place. It's just, do you know how to use them? So I'm interested to see what James Gunn is going to bring to the table. Speaking of sexy, your
Oh,
baby daddy, your
oh,
boo,
heck
the
yeah, come
sexy
on.
people's sexiest man alive.
Finally.
This is his
Yes.
first time.
This is his first time.
Wait. I know you're fucking lying. You're
Wait,
telling
hold
me
on, hold on.
Blake
Let's research this
Shelton.
real quick, Eddie. Let's research this real quick.
You're telling me Blake Shelton was named sexiest man
Come
alive
on
before
now.
Chris
Everybody
Evans?
know that was an outlier, and everybody dragged people for choosing Blake Shelton. It was the worst choice that they ever did. And do you
Adam
know
Levine was the sexiest man alive before Chris
before?
Evans.
Yep. Let me wait. Let me research this.
I
Has
know you fucking. I know
Chris
you got to be fucking lying. I know. There's
has
no way.
Chris
I hear you typing on the Google machine.
yeah, ever been sexiest? No, first time, Eddie.
I know you're fucking lying, dude.
First time.
This look, as the kids say, that's straight cat, man. That dog, no, no way. The travesty.
No,
Oh,
he
this is his first time.
it's his first time. But here's the thing, I found something out because okay, so there's one person. I am so happy. I want to say first, I'm so happy, so ecstatic because I find Chris Evans to be absolutely like one of the sexiest men I've ever seen. And not only his physical, but like his personality just makes him even more sexy. One of the sexiest men in Hollywood. I'm just gonna put that out there right now. Okay. So sad that he is no longer Captain America. All right. I cannot see his just amazingness. But anyway, I have one person that I have been waiting forever to be sexiest man alive. Okay. Can you guess who?
Don't tell me Zac Efron.
Fuck no. Come on now.
Colin.
No.
Okay, it's not Zac Efron. It's not Colin Farrell. Um, Jason Momoa, but Jason Momoa has been sexiest man alive, hasn't
No. He okay. He is one of, I would say, one of the best actors. But he's kind of very private.
he?
He's a very,
DiCaprio?
huh? No, not DiCaprio. Come on now. That's your boo. I'm not gonna take your boo from
Oh.
you. He's a very, very private person. He's married to a Hispanic woman.
Oh gosh. Ben
Ooh.
Affleck's been sexiest man alive.
Who?
I said back what? I don't know.
Ryan Gosling.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you know, like you remember when Ryan was at the height of his like career, like he was in everything. It was like 1 year he was in everything, and everybody was just like, Ryan Gosling is going to be sexiest man. And I think that was the year that it was either Shelton or one of the people I think who came after him or something like that. And so Ryan Gosling has never been sexiest man alive, and everybody's just like, how the heck do y'all bypass Ryan Gosling? You know what I found out?
What?
He's turned them down over 5 times.
Oh wow.
So
I'm
they,
not surprised.
yeah, he's a very, very private individual. I get it. But like at first I was just like, how do you not choose Ryan Gosling to be the sexiest man alive? Like, how has this man not had that title, including Chris Evans? But how has that man not had the title? And then I found out, well, he turned it down like 5 times. They've offered it, like they were offering it year after year after year. And he said no, because you have to accept the title. They're not just giving it to you to give it, because you know you got to come in, do the photo shoot and everything. And so he said no. And I was just like, okay, that makes sense, because there's no way he wouldn't be. But so happy about Chris Evans. Oh, he deserves it. He so deserves it.
Well, okay, so I learned some chalk that into learning something new every year. Because I was gonna say, well, 2023 is Gosling's year because he has a lot of movies coming out next year. But if he turns it down, I'm not surprised that he's turned it down. But he's definitely one of my favorites, and he just seems like a nice, um, laid back, humble kind of everyday guy. Like, this is my job. This isn't me. You
Mm-hmm.
know the success, the fame is just a byproduct of me being very good at my job, but it's not something I live for. And I love that. Um, and I'm not dogging anybody who plays into their celebrity or anything like that, but you can tell there's some people who just live for it. Like, without that fame, without that clout that they think comes with it, then you can tell that they what I'm trying to say.
Yep, I
But
got you.
yeah. So, oh, okay, cool. Well, yeah, and I agree with you. Chris Evans, he could get it. Let me stop. Let me move on before I get charged with sexual harassment. Uh, so switching gears really quick. Music. Taylor Swift. Did you? We kind of talked about our last episode. Album had just dropped or it was dropping. Did you ever listen to it? You're not a big Taylor
I
fan, so
did.
if you say
I
no,
did.
did you like it?
Half and half. So I
Half
think
and
it's a
half.
phenomenal album. Huh?
I'm listening.
I think it's a phenomenal album all around because one thing I said is she's very, very talented. I'm just not a fan of hers, but I can definitely recognize her talent. She's an amazing songwriter. The first half of her album, loved it. Like, I think there's one song that I skipped because I just couldn't get into it. It just had a weird beat. It really didn't flow with me. Um, but the second half is where I kind of tune out a little bit to some of the songs. I was like, oh shoot. But overall, I think it's one of the best. I think it's her grown and sexy because you know what? I'm gonna say this. I love Potty Mouth Swift. Okay. She was throwing those F bombs around in every song. I'm all about that. Okay.
So is it her lemonade?
Is it her lemonade?
Is
Well,
it
you know,
her? Is it
I'm the minority on I didn't like lemonade, but
lemonade? Okay.
but
Um,
yes.
as far as it being her, as far as it being, because
I'm
even
grown as
though,
hell and you can no longer tell me what the fuck to do. Yes.
like owning her sexy, owning her womanhood, like, you know, to me, Lemonade was Beyonce's. I am motherfucking Beyonce. I'm not just Jay Z's. For the people who thought of her as just Jay Z's wife now, or people who thought of her as just the front person of Destiny's Child. For the people who thought of her as just, you know, I thought that was basically her coming out album. Like, this is me, motherfucker. Take it or leave it. Like, I'm here. That I am woman. Hear me roar. Like, that's her grown up album.
Yeah, like explaining it like that, yes. Because I'm gonna be honest, like I've listened to Taylor Swift on and off, um, throughout the years, since she first came out and well, since she first made a name for herself and became mainstream. And what I will say is yes, I think this is the first real album that I've listened to where I can hear her grown and sexy. Like I can hear I'm a grown ass woman. Like I can see that of her. She's no longer a child. Because a lot of times they stick that label even into their 20s. You're still seen as a young girl or a young adult, but she's a full grown adult now. And that's what I loved about the album. Like I thought it was more it had more of an adult sound to me. Like it's no longer geared towards teenagers. It's geared towards her fans who have grown up with her, who are now also full grown adults. And so I think that's what makes it such an amazing album, in my opinion, compared to even the last album that she put out. I think this is the first one where I'm like, I see Taylor Swift, she's a grown adult, and there's no like youngness in her anymore. Like she
Yeah.
about her business now.
Yeah, like she's embracing her womanhood. She's not a
Yes.
30-year-old still trying to make music for kids.
Yeah. No, she's not.
Okay, I get it. Well, would it surprise you to know that Midnight's broke it broke a bunch of records, way too many to even go into.
It's Taylor
But
Swift.
yeah, and but I think this one is really shocking. Like I wasn't surprised it was number one on the Billboard Hot 200, okay, which is the album chart. I'm not surprised it debuted number one. I'm not surprised that it broke some streaming records on Amazon and Apple. Not surprised at all. What shocked the shit out of me is that the week that it came out, it owned all 10 spots on the Billboard Hot 100, which is songs. So top 10 for that first week all belong to Taylor Swift from the Midnight's album. I was like, and that's the first time that has ever happened. Not the Beatles, not Presley, not Michael Jackson. None of them have ever had. Now, there have been artists who've had multiple songs in the top 10 at the same time, but
Mm-hmm.
none of them have dominated 1 through 10 like that ever. So kudos to her for doing that. And I was like,
Question:
oh, wow. Huh? Yeah.
What's your favorite song?
From Midnight's.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would probably be Lavender. There are three that I really like: Lavender Haze, Maroon, and Midnight Rain. Those are probably my top three.
Oh, Eddie, we look at that, Eddie. We've been in agreement for a while now. Like, is an asteroid about to come down and hit us? Um, so okay, so I'm looking at the album now, right? And there are some songs I never got to because it's such a freaking long album. Um,
I know
so
K-pop has spoiled those three,
yes, with
four.
those like 5 or 6 songs. Um, so like the last like 5 or 6 songs on her album, I don't think I necessarily have fully gotten through and listened, but I will say so far my top three is Lavender Haze, love it, favorite as soon as I heard it. Within the first couple lines, it was already favorited. It was already put on a couple playlists. Love that song. I love Snow on the Beach
Oh yeah, with
with
Lana
Lana
Del
Del
Rey.
Rey. Oh my gosh. Like
For
just
shout
yeah.
out to Janet Jackson. Yeah,
Oh my gosh. And then Question. Love Question. So far those are the three. And I love Anti-Hero as well. I love Anti-Hero. I listen to it and that's on repeat as well. But those first three, those are the songs that I automatically put a heart next to. I was just like, yes, love it, love it, love it. So like I said, I'm not necessarily a Taylor Swift fan, but I can fully understand her talent. And I have definitely loved this album more than I loved some of her previous albums that she's come out with.
yeah. I've grown into my Swiftiness. I I I'm a huge country music fan, so I knew her when she just started country music. She had a song about one of my favorite country music artists to this day, Tim McGraw. Um, and then as she made the crossover, I remember I was watching the MTV Video Music Awards when Kanye bullied her. Thought that was bullshit. Still didn't turn me into an instant Taylor Swift fan, but I felt for her in that moment, right? And then I think when the transition for me started was when she released Red, and that's when I really paid attention. I think there was enough time removed between the situations where I was like, okay, I'm not doing this for the bandwagon, but all right. So I loved Red. And then I've been, there's some albums since that have been hit or miss, but I really became a bigger fan. And I've always said that she's grown into her voice. She's become a better singer. Her songwriting has always been there. Girl is, you can say whatever you want. It's one of those things where it's like, love her or hate her, you can't say that the girl is not a hell of a songwriter.
I agree.
Uh, so
And anyone who does is lying and they're a hater.
they're just a hater. Like, you don't have to be a Taylor Swift fan to acknowledge that she is an excellent, a phenomenal songwriter. Um, and so that's how it's come along. And so, like I said, it's just been wild. And and there have been some moments where I'm like, damn, Taylor, you're not, this is not a good look on you. So, but we're human. You're not going to agree with anyone 100% of the time. You're not, there's some things. Um, but so I think I agree with you. This is her moment. Like, this is her lemonade, in the sense that this is her grown album. Like, this is the full transition to where I am me. I'm a grown ass woman now. Love it or hate it. Fuck you. Deal with it. Don't deal with it. Whatever. And I can appreciate that. So, She's gearing up for her biggest tour ever, the Midnight's tour, um, which I haven't decided if I want to even try to go get tickets for. I figure I have to sell a kidney, but then I was like, ooh, okay. But word on the streets are that Beyonce, Queen B and Riri, they're also possibly going to tour next year. So I might have to give up some blood, a kidney. Anybody that needs a transplant, let me know. Go see if I'm a match. Um, so 2023, and I know you're not big on concerts, but 2023 is shaping up to be a big year. And I'm excited. A friend, an old friend, someone I had lost touch with, actually texted me and said, "Yo, is this still your number?" And when I saw it, it was really late. And I'm like, okay, it can't be that big of an emergency because we haven't talked in like years, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I text back the next day. I'm like, yeah, hey, stranger, it's still me, and they had extra tickets to the 1975. I was like, yes!
Oh my
So
God, are
let
you
me. I'm
serious?
so excited. I've already seen them in concert once, and they are excellent, excellent. And I'm like, yes, because
I know you are excited about that.
I love that new album, Being Funny. I love it, and so I was like, yes. So I'll let y'all know in the next rewind how the concert is. But I'm going to see the 1975. So happy. Um, Okay, so speaking of albums to drop, RM Indigo first full length solo, not a mixtape, dropping December 2nd. Are you excited?
Yes. RM is my bias. Like, I am so excited about him coming out with new music. Because I didn't think he would be next in line. So I'm very, very excited about that to see, because his flow is sick. So um
Yeah,
definitely can't wait to see like what he puts out.
yeah. I know you didn't like his part in "Sexy New Kim." I love it. I love that song. But I just love listening to RM rap, and I love his flow, and I love when he just goes. So I think, and just from what he said, like if you haven't read it yet, or if even if you don't want to read it, go to YouTube. And did you see this interview with him and Pharrell?
I didn't, but it did come up on my list. I just haven't
Watched it
have
yet?
yeah, I just
When
haven't
you have
watched
it,
it yet.
when you have a spare 23 minutes or 20 to 25 minutes, I highly recommend you watch it. It's a really good interview. And just from what he said, since lemonade is the theme of the day, um, I think this is going to be his lemonade. I think this is going to be really one of the first times where we get to meet, like how we met J Hope um, with Jack in the Box, how it was his coming out, not just as J Hope from BTS. And I told you before that was one of my problems with the exception of Sugar, who's just always been like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do
He's
me."
always been August D. Come on now.
Yeah, yeah. Like Sugar is his alternate persona. Like Sugar is his Clark Kent. Okay, August D is
Hmm.
his Superman. Like he's the one who's always probably been the most vocal about BTS was a means to an end, and he just didn't expect to love it like he did or for it to be like it is, right? So just like we finally got to see the real J Hope as far as musically and him branching out, I think we are finally going to get to meet the real RM, the man behind all of that. No longer having to worry about being the front man for BTS or the leader of BTS. I think we get to meet RM as RM, and I am excited about
You mean
that.
we get to meet Namjoon?
Yeah, or we get to meet the dude who collabed with Wale. And if you go back to some of his older collabs, I think Sexy New Kim in the verse and just seeing
Ooh,
his flow,
Rat
I think,
Monster.
yeah, I think we're getting back to him just being who he is. Like, I think it's like, okay, we've been BTS. We've done not all we can as BTS, but we've made our mark in BTS. We've earned this. We now get to be ourselves. We don't have to so, and I think it's kind of like shedding that skin where you can just kind of be, and he doesn't have to worry, like, and I told you this with the mixtapes. I always felt like they were still, even though I know Army is there and I know that's part of the audience, I always felt like there was still some BTS behind it. Like, does that make sense? The full, like it was made with the awareness that I can't say this, I can't do that because of. But
Mm-hmm.
now I think that's kind of gone. So I think this is all of their grown and sexy moments, if that makes sense. So I'm really looking forward to it. You like Jen Astronaut?
I didn't listen to it.
What?
I didn't like his tuna song.
It's so different than the tuna song. This is Jen.
Okay,
It
well, I'll
makes
go listen to it at some point. But I looked at the
the
news
tuna
list that you
song.
sent me.
Hmm.
Hmm? I looked
Oh,
at
go
the
ahead.
news list that you sent me, and I was just like, oh shoot, because you wrote down what do you think, and I was like, oh shoot, I didn't listen to. I was like, I didn't listen to the song yet. I have been. I look. I think Jin is the second best vocalist in BTS. I will put it out there. He has grown so much vocally compared to all the others. And but at the same time, like I feel like he's the one that cares the least about making a name for himself in the business. Um, and so like when he puts out stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, like it's gonna sell because it's BTS and it's Jin, but like, what he put out before, then again, you know what? Maybe not. Cause you remember that birthday song he put out?
Hmm.
That was actually really good.
I
Okay,
like the
I'll listen
song
to
though.
it. I haven't listened to it
I
yet,
like
so we can't talk
it's
about it
a
until I listen to it.
Okay, it's along the line. I'm just going to tell you this. It's along the lines of Abyss. It's not the tuna. Super tuna was supposed to be a joke. Even he said, "I can't believe y'all did this. Super tuna is a joke, right?" Um.
Why he released it?
So
That's playing anyway.
why did? Well, I think it was. I think they dared him to, or he was bored. He was having a
But
gin moment. But
you played your fans. That's
you
playing your
know,
fans because you know they'll buy anything.
but and so but it was co-written by Coldplay. He and Chris Martin were having a conversation. And it goes back to what I said when they first went on hiatus, that this has to do with the military. So he was telling them that he was going to have to go away, and so he wanted to write a song that would express how he felt. So they came up with the astronaut. He performed it in Argentina with Chris Martin and Coldplay a few weeks ago. It's actually a song. It's actually a good song, and it kind of made,
Like
and
good on
he
like
did
what level? Like give me a song.
it. My favorite Jin release is Abyss, and it's a song. It's not like ooh, I gotta listen to it every day. Um, so I'm not gonna say it's the best song ever, but it's a good song. I think it served its purpose. It got his release because I told you that he was gonna be the one that did not come out with a full album. That he was
Mm-hmm.
probably gonna do the
We did
single
say,
and the
yeah,
B
we did talk about that.
the single or the B side. So it served that purpose. It's definitely not super tuna. And it does showcase just how much he's grown as a vocalist. It's in his wheelhouse. It's a ballad, of course. Um, and so other than that, I'm gonna let you listen and see what you think. The video is really cute. I love the video. And it's just typical Jen. It kind of makes me wish when I heard it. I'm like, I wish and I'm forgive me for saying this, but I'm with you. I wish he cared enough to actually put out a full solo album or at least a
Because he
full
has the
solo EP.
voice.
Yes, it makes me want, just like Abyss. His COVID release song or whatever, his last real single that I take seriously. I was like, gosh, I would love to hear, even if he just did an EP with 4 songs. I would love to hear more of Jin. But yeah, so that's where Astronaut ranks up for me. Um,
So did you hear about like how he's already got his plan for enlistment and everything? The only thing they're waiting for is what day he's actually enlisting.
oh no, I did not. So we're
Yeah,
good.
like
We
so they've already put out exactly where he's going to be doing basic training, or what troop he's going to be in for basic training. So the only thing that, and I think the best thing for Hype to do is not to release his enlistment date because that would just be idiotic. Um, is one day we're gonna wake up and he will have enlisted in the military.
Yeah, and then you can just show us a picture of his haircut after the fact.
Yes, yes. Because I
I
I cannot wait because he has a full head of hair. I'm
yes,
like, oh
and
my
I
god, I
love
don't
to
know how Jen's
like
gonna look with a buzz cut.
You know what? I love long haired BTS. I love them all with longer hair. I do. And Sugar's hair is so pretty. Like this is the first time they like. I don't know if you've seen Sugar's hair. Like
Yes, I have.
so pretty, and this is the first time he's really let it grow this long. I'm like, oh, he's gonna have to cut that soon. And you know how I feel about long haired J and VK, J and VK. You know how I feel about long haired B and JK. That's just like my
Nobody tops
kryptonite.
Jamin though, because Jamin with long hair and that when he does the hand thing and he pushes his hair back and it still falls into place.
Yeah. So,
But yeah,
but yeah. So speaking of JK, he's performing at the opening ceremony in Qatar.
I
You
did see
know,
that.
so looking forward to that. I wonder if he's going to be live or if it's just going to be what he was there filming a couple of weeks ago, or if he's actually going to go back to Qatar for the opening ceremony. So we'll see. And Eminem has made it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Finally.
Congratulations, Mr. Lose Yourself. I love Eminem. I still love old school Eminem. I will go back and listen to him any day. I'm not a big fan of this new school hip hop. I don't know what it is. I can do a song or two, but there aren't any really just full length albums that I just have to have. Um, yeah, I
I
don't know
agree with you.
if that makes me just oh, I don't know. I just can't.
The skill
Um,
isn't the same. I'm sorry. I have this discussion with people all the time. The skill isn't the same. Like they're not expected to have the skill set that rappers in the early 2000s, and we're not even gonna talk about the 90s, but just the early 2000s, the 2010s, like even in 2010s, like they were expected to have a certain skill set. And I feel like the more closer we get into mid 2020s, like the it's not required anymore for them, you know, like you
yeah.
can't understand anything they're saying, but they're still like the top rappers. And I'd be like, yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, and even like one of my favorites, Drake and 21 Savage, they just dropped a new album, and I wasn't crazy about that. I didn't like the way Drake went after Megan and
I was
Serena.
just about to say, did you
I was
hear
like,
about that, yo?
yeah, that was bullshit. Like, first of all, again, it ranks up there with you don't have to be a Megan Thee Stallion fan. You don't. I get it.
But don't
She's
put your
not
two
for
cents
everyone,
into the situation.
but you can't deny what the fuck happened to her. Those are two completely
It don't
different
matter if he's
things.
your friend or not. Your friend's lying to you if he says that he didn't do it. Like, just stay out of it completely.
Like how many times does his story have to fucking change? First he didn't do it. Then he did it, but he wasn't aiming at her. Then it was, I mean, like how many times does it have to change? There's been enough evidence that they're actually going to trial for this bullshit. Like just shut the fuck up. Like, and again, what does a black woman have to do to get protection from a black man?
Get
Like
respect.
you want us to cape and ride for you all the fucking time, but y'all won't do the same for us. And that, that's a whole nother conversation that could last a whole nother that we don't have time for. But you get where I'm going with that. Fan or not, what happened happened, and the facts don't change. The truth is the truth. He did some pit, whether he was drunk, whether it could have. I'm not sure what it would have taken, but his lying and the gaslighting, I'm sure, has made it so much worse for everybody. So yeah. And then you going after, like, you and Serena Williams have been over for years, dude. Years.
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
Oh, you didn't hear about the Serena part?
Wait, no, 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 no. Serena Williams dated Drake?
Yeah,
Are you fucking serious?
yeah.
She knows she got better taste than that.
Well,
Oh, I mean, I guess okay, I can see it. I can see it. I can see it. But oh, I guess like he must have really loved her then.
I don't know, but
He went
something.
after her?
But her called her husband a fucking groupie.
He called her husband a groupie who's
Mhm,
a entrepreneur in his own right?
mhm.
The fuck? You don't need to ride on her coattails. Oh my god, I can't. I just can't.
And then and so Alexis responded with, "There's no one I'd rather be a groupie for than my wife and my daughter." Like fuck you.
Touche, baby. Touche.
So it's just like, really, is this where we are now? And so knowing that the whole album and the promotion for it has been a joke, I'm like, okay, is this supposed to be your bad idea of satire? Because it's not funny. They're being sued by Vogue for the fake Vogue covers, promoting copyright infringement, and all that shit. So I'm like, even Anna Wintour and them didn't find your shit to be funny. Like, I don't know. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy about all the misogynistic R&B that's coming out now. The whole toxic masculinity shit. You knew I was a cheater when you got with me. That whole Nick Cannon. I call it the Nick Cannon version of R&B, where oh, that consensual non-monogamy or whatever the fuck it is. Speaking of which, he's about to have his 12th kid, so all of
Yeah, I
that
saw
bullshit.
that. Now you're getting ridiculous. Now people are saying like, okay, he must be starting a cult. This got to be a cult thing. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a cult thing.
And it has to be like his little harem, and well, they don't have to get along, whatever, but then when one woman comes out and says that she can't afford a nanny and all this shit, they're like, well, you take care of them. Well, you keep giving these women, and I'm responsible too, because you can say no. Like, no, no, we're not doing that. Like, I'm with you. It's ridiculous. Okay, but anyway, so palette cleanser. Do you remember the spindle top and the light brights and the Masters of the Universe? Like those games?
No,
You don't?
no,
Oh my gosh. Well, they all made it into the Toy Hall of Fame. Did you know that there was a Toy Hall of Fame?
I did not know that there was a Toys Hall of Fame. Now I'm
There is a
interested to know
Toy.
what other toys made it in.
I know. So, and I say that because now I want to go to the Toy Hall of Fame. I
Yes,
really do.
where is it located?
Oh my gosh, let me pull it back up. I just had it too. I was like, I should have written it down when I had it.
That
But
makes me a
yes,
little excited, Eddie.
I know to know that we can go to the Toy Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Let's see. Okay, here it is. The Toy Hall of Fame is located in um, Rochester, New York. So it's up your way.
Oh, heck yeah. We need to go to the Toy Hall of Fame, Eddie.
I'm so excited. Like, yes, we can go. It's called okay, so here's the name of it. It's called the Strong National Museum of Play in Rochester. And that's where the Toy Hall of Fame is located. So I just get in there and be a kid forever. And Toys R Us is actually making a comeback. They went broke. They went under filed Chapter 11 or bankruptcy and closed all their stores. But they actually have a collab. Like they have pop up shops in Macy's. So a little Toys R Us section in Macy's, which I think is really great because, these kids these days, it's just video games. I'm like, what cool toys do they actually have? So,
I
anyway,
think that's like your best palate cleanser yet, Eddie.
the Toy Hall of Fame.
The Toy
Aw,
Hall of Fame.
even better than the $1.2 million gold toilet.
Definitely better than the $1.2 million toy.
All right. And see, I didn't think this would be that long. I was like, oh, this is a short one. But no, we actually, okay. But anyway, well, since we've been gone a while, you got 2 for 1, people.
Yes.
That does it for this episode of the Rewind. Please be sure to like, listen, and follow and comment anywhere where you can listen to your favorite podcast. We are there. Find us at the Popcorn Wind Down. You can also keep up to date on the latest in entertainment pop culture news as well as other amazing kernels of pop culture goodness at the popcornwinddown.com. That's it. That's the plug. Pop, 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 pop. And until next time, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Peace.